Hi, today I'll be showing you how to install a water pump on a 1988 S10, but on any GM 2.8 liter V6 from the years 1986 to 1993. What I have here is my new water pump, and I have all the screws to go for it, but what I'm going to do now is just install the 4 medium ones, then I'll do the 3 small ones, then I'll do the 5 big ones remaining. And what I did was I got my new gasket and I put some sealer on it so it could be nice, see, sealed on it so nothing won't leak. And on the housing I put some, I'm cleaned that up with the razor and stuff, but what I have to do next is put some more sealer on this side of the gasket. So whenever I set it down, it's going to have a nice tight seal on it all the way around. And there's where it goes on. I clean this real nice and smooth. Okay, see this gasket right there? I already sanded it pretty smooth, but I also got some sandpaper into it. But what I'm going to do now is just get my razor and just do a few more passes on it and clean it for about a few more minutes, then I should be good. Alright, I just got done adding my gasket sealer. Next step is going to be to hurry up, get these bolts in before it dries so it can have a solid bond, and I'll get back to you whenever I'm installing it. One thing I want to show you before you install the medium screws in here, these are the medium size, but there's a long one and a short one. The short one goes, here I'll show you. The long one goes everywhere the medium long ones fit, but the short one, which is this one here, goes in this hole closest to the water pump. And it's the only one that has a flat face on it. The rest of them are rounded. And let me install those and I'll get back. Alright, so I installed all the medium size screws, and I want to show you everywhere I installed them at. I installed one here, 2 on the top, and they're the long mediums. This one, the very right one, was a medium, but it was a short one, and this is a medium long. Now I have to install the 3 smalls on the bottom. Now the next step is the 3 smallest torque screws. They're the shortest and the skinniest. I have to install them. I'll just drill it in, okay. On the 3 bottom you see there. 1, 2, 3. The last step to screw in on the water pump is to do the 4 big screws. And for this, they go 1 there, 2, 3, and 4. Now, where's the 4th one? See if you see it. Yeah, 4. Now to do those, they're a little tricky, especially that one because it's covered by the pulley. But what you gotta do is get a socket or anything that could pull the pulley up a bit so you could drill that one in. But I'll show you how to do that last. Oh, and one more tip: if for these for the big screws, they take a T50, which is a special socket torque you have to buy. You could get them at most of your hardware stores, and I believe this right here was like $7 to get. And it's a T50, but a TT50 will work too. The only difference is that the extra T means it has a hole here, and for the torques that have like a security type hole in it. That's the only difference. Okay, so as you see here, as I was explaining, this screw is not straight in. You do not want to drill it. You're stripped the threads and now you have a pain. So you want to get this socket is a 5/8 of an inch, and that's what fits on my pulley here. So I want to put it on here like that. It's hard to do with one hand, and you want here. Go ahead, better approach and angle for the video. Let me switch hands while I do this. Okay. it with two hands is way easier. You want to put it in here like that, and you pick up, and as you see, your pulley moves out the way, and with your other hand, you want to drill that into the block. Okay, so after getting all these screws and bolts torqued down to where they should be, your next step is to install the hose back on here. And I'm probably going to end up replacing this hose because it's not in the best shape. But just for now, I'm just going to install it for the video. You want to install the hose right on that tube where it goes. Just like that, it's installed. And now I have to clamp it down. Now we have to install this power steering bracket back on to where it goes. And here's the tricky part for this. You hopefully saw my last video on how to take this out, but it shows how to do all this stuff here. This screws in here to hold this in place, but this bracket sets up just like that. Okay, in there. And but this piece has to go in between where, let's see if you see on video, there's a screw bolt back there, and this piece right here sits in the middle of that screw bolt and this piece. And there's a washer here, make sure you don't lose it. Alright, so now what I did here, I installed these 3 bolts right here, that, and that one. Now what Wind did anyways was this bolt that holds this on, and that one that holds that on. And also tying that, and put this bracket here that I was showing you before in the middle. It has to sit right there in the middle of these two. Now, there's a bolt missing right there, and the reason why is because as I was taking this off, this bolt snapped. And I have the other part of the bolt in there, and what I have to do tomorrow is bring it to some type of place and get a new one so I can install the final bolt right there. And after that, you have a few more steps to do. Okay, I finally found a bolt for this one. This one snapped in half, and I had to remove the screw from it, and it was kind of a pain. I went to about 3 auto parts stores, and finally one had it, and this is the only one that fits, and it's red. But anyways, our next step is, I just realized as I was installing this that the studs, this fan didn't come with any studs, so I have to take the old studs out my my other water pump, and I have a video on that, on how to remove these. But the install process is kind of simple. All you do is twist it, and they're in. And you could just honestly do these all by hand. Take the screw out. No. And after you get all 4 of them in, I'll show you how to tie these down. Alright, all of these are nice and tight. What I did, I got two of the 2 screw method that if you watch my other video on how to remove these, it's just the exact opposite, and you can make it tight that way. But anyways, I tied all of them down not too tight, but a little tight. Now you need to get the pulley that goes with it, poke it through, gotta put it through here. Alright, as you saw, I put the pulley on the screws. I didn't screw the screws down yet because now I have to install the fan and the fan clutch, but it's all already assembled. I'm going to poke these through here, just like that. Now I'm gonna get some of these nuts. I'm gonna finger tighten them just so it can stay on. Okay, 1. Two. Finger tight these 2. Alright, once you finger tight them, I'll show you the next step. Okay, and this is the way I tie in all the studs down. With the bolts, they're all finger tight now, but I'll get a flathead screwdriver, poke it through the shaft in 1 bolt, like that, so the clutch fan won't spin. I'll hold this, keep it from spinning, as I push on this, and that's how you make them tight. Because if you notice, if you just push it, the whole water pump moves. And you can't hold a fan because it's a clutch fan. So you have to hold the screwdriver down with one hand and push a wrench with the other hand. And I like to get them tight, do all 4, and just do a final little snug. If you guys want to know how to install a power steering pulley, you could check out my other video and show you how to do it. Alright, so the next step is, once you have your power steering pulley installed, what you want to do now is, I like to personally install the belt because I have more room before I install all the covering and stuff. So I'm going to install the belt right then and there. And one trick I like to do is, whenever I install the belt, I like to leave this on just in case I have to make it a little, it's pretty tight, the power steering pulley, but once I install the belt, I like to see if it all fits good. Okay, so your power steering's installed. Now the belt, I have the belt all installed, as you see. The only thing I have to do is get my wrench, and I have to move the the tensional pulley right here, just like that. And as I pull it down, it's gonna give me some slack so I could throw it over here, the alternator. And the way the belt goes on is here. If you look at my covering, well, I pretty much know this by now because I took it off many times. But this is the way it goes on. Just like that. For this engine, but each engine's different. Now, let's see if I can get a good video for you guys. Good angle. Oh, I can't. But anyways, what I'm going to do is go like this. And once I pull this pulley, like that. Now once I'm going to get a breaker bar and pull it. And once I pull it, it's going to give me a lot more slack. I'm going to grab this belt, throw it over the alternator, and I'll be good to go. Alright, and just like that, you have everything installed. And what I did here was, I got this piece of pipe I have. I connected it to the tensioner pulley slot. Just like that. I cranked down on it. It gave me a bunch of room, and I slipped it over here. And that's how I installed the power steering. I mean, not the power steering belt. The belt. Alright, now this is one of the last parts. What you want to do for this one, and the very last step would obviously be installing the battery cables back. But say it like this. You need to tuck it in here, put it back on here the way it came, and all of this goes around the body of the fan. The fan blade itself has to scoot back in. And once I get this going around here, I'll show you the next step. Alright, so I'm installing the fan cover. And just like that, you want to make sure these are lined up. Scoot over this way more. Alright, now just like that, your fan cover is installed. But before I install the fan cover, I'm going to remove the power steering bolt. Alright, so now I put the belt on and I see how it lines up perfectly. So now what I'm going to do is just break the power steering loose. Okay. Now I'm going to take out the bolt. And that is all there is to it. Just like that. This is how you remove your power steering. Install your power steering. Good. Thank you for watching. Alright, so now that the fan cover is installed nice and it's all tucked in, what you want, I'm going to install the hose back on real quick. Just like that. Now I'm going to get the 3 bolts that go in the front. And I'm going to, they're 10 millimeter, by the way. Going to get my drill. I'm going to drill them in. Now the 4 pointed screws you want to install in the very bottom, the base of it, and where the 4 line up right here. See, I'm turning the light on. Okay. Where these 4 line up is where you want to install these 4 screws. Set them in. There's 2 on this side. And there's 2 on the other side. Right here. And once you install them, I'll get back to you. Alright, and the final steps now are just to install your battery. And that right there is how you install a water pump on a GM 2.8 liter V6 1986 to 93 model. Thanks for watching. Oh, and one last thing before I close. Before you start your vehicle, make sure you add coolant in it. And use the right type of concentrate. I'm using 50-50. 50% distilled water and 50% coolant concentrate. And that's what I'm using for my mixture. And certain cars require more or less of it.